Hello and welcome, my lovely Padawans, to my next Yu-Gi-Oh video where I will show you a deck profile of my Magic Ruler cards only deck that I made to fight against my friend a couple months ago against his Magic Ruler deck. So let's get right into the deck. As you can see, it's very spell heavy from the first glance, but that's okay, because you only need one of these monsters, and I will tell you all the possible combos as well. Basically, you begin with a triple copies of Guardian of the Throne Room. That's a light level 4 machine beater, 1650 attack and 1600 defense points, but that's just there to be there. But the key card of this deck is Maha Vilo. Mahavilo is a level 4 light spellcaster effect monster with 1500 attack and 1550 attack and 1400 defense, but his effect is what matters. His effect states that this card gains 500 attack points for each equipped spell card equipped to this card. So basically, this card can become mind-blowingly overpowered. And I will explain later when I get to the spell cards. Then I have a copy of Senju of the Thousand Hands. That's why I have Relinquished in my deck. So when you summon this or flip summon this monster, you can add one ritual card from your deck to your hand. So if you have Relinquished and Senju, but don't have the Black Illusion ritual, then you can easily summon Relinquished. And Relinquished is a really nice monster, which we will be seeing more of in the new ban list now, because they finally removed from the ban list the 1000 dice restrict fusion monster. Then the next monster is one copy of Sonic Bird. Sonic Bird is basically the same as it's basically the same as Sonic Bird, but I kind of made a mistake. But Senju gets you the monster, gets you a ritual monster, and Sonic Bird gets you a ritual spell when summoned or flipped. So if you do not have your rituals or ritual spells, these cards will help you get them fast. Then 3 copies of Shining Angel. That's a light level 4 fairy. Basically what it does is when it's destroyed in battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a light monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in a face-up attack position. So basically you get one, summon it, it gets destroyed, then it special summons its second copy, then the third copy. Then 3 copies of Banisher of the Light. This monster has 2 functions. One of them it's a 2000 attack, 2000 defense monster, which is still a lot even for Magic Ruler. And also, when it is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which can do really nice things. Then a copy of Hero's Shadow Scout. That's a flip monster, and when you flip it, your opponent draws 3 cards. Then both opponents look at the cards. If there are any spell cards among them, discard all those cards to the graveyard. That's a nice kind of RNG-ish way to mill your opponent's deck a bit. Then 1 copy of Relinquished. That's my ritual monster that I have in this deck. What it does is, once per turn you can select a monster your opponent controls and equip it to this card. Only one monster can be equipped to it at a time. Then this card's attack and defense become equal to the attack and defense of the monster equipped to this card. So you can easily ritual summon this after the turn of your opponent summoning their boss monster, whichever it may be, and you can steal it and then just destroy them. Then, if this card is destroyed by battle, the equipped monster to it is destroyed instead, and any damage you receive from the battle is also inflicted to your opponent. You see, that's a really nice way to dispose of a boss monster and still keep your Relinquished alive. So the next we begin with the spell cards. Curse of Fiend. That's a nice a nice little spell. Basically what it does is it changes the battle positions of all attack position monsters on the field to defense and vice versa. These positions cannot be changed during this turn, during the turn this card is activated, except by the effect of a spell, trap, or monster effect card. You can only activate this card during your standby phases. So basically you can deal with your enemies' monsters, boss monsters, if they're in attack, you flip them to defense, and you can easily kill them. Then one copy of Upstart Goblin. I don't really need to explain what this does. Internal Rest. One copy of that. It destroys all monsters with equipped spell cards. That's in case. I put that in case my opponent, my friend, used equipment spells or Mahavelo, because that's a sickly strong boss monster. Then Black Illusion Ritual, that is the ritual spell to summon Relinquished. Then 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, I don't need to explain that. 1 copy of Tailor of the Fickle, which means that you switch one equipped spell, equipped to a monster, to another monster. I actually did a really nice trick when I switched the equipment spells on my opponent's, my friend's Blue Eyes Toon Dragon to my Mahavilo, and it became 1,000 points stronger than it, so that would be like 5,000 or a bit more against his about 4,000 Blue Eyes. So yeah. Then 2 copies of Gravekeeper's Servant. That's pretty straightforward. When your opponent attacks, declares an attack, they must discard the top card from their deck to the graveyard. Then 1 copy of Messenger of Peace. That is a continuous spell card, just like Gravekeeper's Servant. Basically what it does is each turn in your standby phase you must pay 100 points to keep it alive. But what it does is that any monsters with 1500 attack or more cannot attack. Then 1 copy of Chain Energy. That's another continuous spell card. Each player must pay 500 life points to get 500 life points per card to normal summon or special summon. Set or activate cards from his respective hands. So basically that's another way to limit crazy moves. Then Toll, it's yet another continuous spell card, which is similar to Chain Energy, but when you declare an attack you must pay 500 life points. Then we get to one of the equipment spells that I have, and that's Axe of Despair. Basically, the monster on which you equip it gains 1,000 life points, and when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster and return it to the top of your deck if you want, because 1,000 attack boost is a lot. So basically, you get this card on Mahavilo, it gets to 2550 from the effect of Despair, but from his effect he gets 500 more, so that's 30. What is that? 30, a bit more than 3,000. So yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, I have 2 copies of Axe of Despair, then 1 copy of Snatch Steal. It's one of those forever alone banned cards. One copy only. That's what we agreed upon. Basically, you take control of an opponent's monster by equipping it, and it goes to your field. And if you want to keep this monster on your field, you need to pay 1,000 life points. You need to increase your opponent's life points, sorry, by 1,000 in each of your standby phases in which you keep their monster, which is a good way to take their to take a monster to tribute, or to take their boss monster and use it against them. Then 2 copies of Black Pendant. That's an equipment spell card that gives you 500 attack points to a monster, and when it leaves the field and goes to the graveyard, you burn your opponent for 500. So these are also very good for Mahavilo. Then 2 copies of Luminous Spark, which is a field spell which gives 500 attack and 500 attack points, and takes 400 defense points from all light monsters. And as you have probably noticed, almost all of my monsters are light, especially Mahavilo, and that can only make him stronger. Then we go to the traps. 1 copy of Fairy Scan Mirror. It's really basic. You select an opponent's spell card effect that specifically targets 1 monster on your field and switch it to another monster. and 3 copies of Spellbinding Circle, which is also pretty generic now. You select a monster and it cannot attack or change its battle position, and when that monster is destroyed, this card is destroyed as well. So that's just another way to deal with those pesky enemy boss monsters, basically. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. And until then, may the force be with you always.